A model is simply a pattern, a design, or an example to follow, but there's more than one way to use a model. If I were to ask you to build a chair, I can show you a model of a chair and I can specify exactly what it should look like. I could specify what tools, techniques, and materials to use. I can give you precise measurements and step-by-step instructions and say, this is how you make a chair. But another way is for me to show you the chair I made and then explain why and how I made this chair to fit me. I want it to be comfortable, so I need extra lumbar support. I made the armrest the perfect height and length for my arms, right? I made it this color because I like it. Then I might say, this is how I made my chair. Now, how are you going to make yours? One approach uses a specific blueprint to produce a carbon copy of the original, while the other provides guidelines and allows for much more flexibility and freedom. And this might help illustrate what we mean by a model for community. Instead of specifying and micromanaging what a spiritual community should look like and how it should operate, our model focuses on a shared purpose and a few principles or values that groups can use as guidelines so that they can figure things out on their own. It's empowering groups to make their own chair, to do their own design work so that they can co-create spiritual community on their own terms. And I want to highlight two very different approaches to making things. A factory uses preset designs and specifications that need to be followed. The goal is efficiency, uniformity, and consistency. It has many workers or laborers who work for a few owners, designers, or engineers. And in a factory, the worker might even be seen as just a cog in the machine, easily replaceable, sometimes even expendable. And of course, a factory system is good at mass producing goods. It's useful for creating cookie cutter, one-size-fits-all products and services. In contrast, a workshop, studio, or makerspace might have a whole variety of different designs, tools, and materials. And in a workshop, there's room for creativity and collaboration, as well as experimentation and perhaps even some design improvements. In a workshop, the workers are the owners, designers, and engineers. And the products they create are going to be more custom made. And the popular word for this these days is bespoke, which means it's made for a particular customer or user. I think there are a lot of parallels between these two very different approaches and how we do church and discipleship. Do we see church as more of a factory or a workshop? Do we use mass production, assembly line approach to spiritual community? Or is it possible to see every small relational community as more of a workshop, free to create and design the way they do church according to their needs and their unique context and culture? I would say if our purpose is to make people conform and comply to a certain set of beliefs and behaviors, then a factory approach might make a lot of sense. But if the purpose of spiritual community is to actually heal people and help each other become more like Jesus, then I would advocate for a workshop approach. Why? Because people are not products. You cannot mass produce disciples of Jesus on an assembly line. People need to be seen and loved. They need to be given space to grow and to learn at their own pace. The goal is not for me to make them a disciple of Eugene and create a carbon copy of myself. The goal is for them to become who they're meant to be in Christ. The spiritual journey is not a linear process. It doesn't always fit into one-size-fits-all programs. Everyone is at different points, moving in different directions, all at different times with different backgrounds and different cultures. So we need an approach to community and discipleship that's more personal, more human. The way Jesus did it was through a small group of disciples who spent a lot of time together. And Jesus probably learned some of that methodology from being an apprentice in his father Joseph's workshop.